are live on Hot Tag Takes on HamiltonRadio.net, channel HR2. I am your host, John BRECKO, and I don't know whose brain is going to fall out of their head first, mine or that old puppet on the side. But anyways, before we get into that, again, I am your host, John BRECKO. As always, Ruben in the box on the side like a homeless man. Ruben, how you doing, man?
John, you got a quarter?
No, not for you. I might have it for me.
I need a quarter for my tin can.
Spare change.
Spare change.
Spare some change.
That's my hip hop name. Spare change.
I thought you were just another cast member in South Park, to be honest with you. I thought you were going to be right by the Burger King we normally drive past on the way home.
King. John, you look like the additional Whopper.
I look like the Burger King. If only PJ was
like
here,
the
he could have.
size of Wendy's.
Listen, if only PJ was still here, he could have looked like the Burger King instead of me. Because he had the beard and the hair. All he needed was a plastic crown.
You would be the Burger King. He would be the Burger Queer.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you were going to call him the Burger Queen. He would have been fine with it, probably. He would have been so fine with it, he would have put eyeliner on for the next show.
He sure would.
Yeah, man.
I know. So
anyways, we got Darren Silver over here. How you feeling, my man?
Man, I'm good. I don't want to hear about PJ and his plastic head. Plastic PJ.
Oh, you know what? Nobody wanted to hear about you or your complaints, so... Over here bitching, we're not even 5 minutes into the show. Over here shaking his head. Well, what are you looking at over there? Like, why are you looking all the way to the right on the other side of the room?
This way?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
I'm on a psychedelic journey. We don't have a sports game. No football.
No, you look like you're on a fucking journey.
I
don't even think you know what journey it is, but you look like it's a journey.
Hey, all I know is I found out with my filming stuff that my filming stuff for the project got delayed so I can get a haircut. I said, can I get a haircut? That's what I've been waiting. I've been waiting to get a haircut because of this damn film. And people, if you act and you think, oh my gosh, actors, this and that, we have to do a lot for our character, okay? In this movie, I look pretty fucking scruffy unless we do a rewrite. And I'm like, that's why I'm at the point where I'm looking like the mad scientist. I think me and the puppet need to get a.
Are you like trying to practice? Like, is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I'm just
trying to look like Bill Nye right now. Yo, honestly, like it's going off to the side, looking like the comb that you leave in your hair. Like you're in the middle of brushing it and you just leave it in there. Like that's what it was looking like for a minute. Yeah, he put his hat back on because he got insecure. I think Darren was trying to envision himself on a Pokemon journey that he was never going to go on. And he's thinking about where the fuck he's going to go for Pokemon Go tomorrow. That's what he was looking like. Yeah, man. But anyways, I'm very excited to introduce our guest tonight. There are so many things that I want to talk about with this man. This man is a ventriloquist. This man is a comic. This man is also a pro wrestler as well. So there are so many things that I want to get into with this man here on the show. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, give it up for Sergio Vega. He flashed the hair. He tipped the cap. He's ready to go. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for coming on, man. How's everything been with you? Let's start off with that.
Things are always crazy and whatnot when you're a man of many talents and very little money.
I hear that 1,000%. So there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. You just mentioned it yourself. You're a man of talents with very little money. What are some things that are coming up for you right now, just so we can address it in the beginning of the show? We could plug it a little bit later. What you got going on, man?
Right now, I'm starting a YouTube channel with my friend Theo Milo.
I love it.
He is this old guy over here. Oh, hello, my name is Theo Milo.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, party over here. Thirsty Thursdays.
Let's
What
go.
day is it?
Like, this is what I envisioned Mr. T sounding like if he was white and old.
Or drink to that.
I pity the fool. I pity the fool, and I'll drink to it. Yeah.
Doing things like that, trying to get the YouTube thing going. I'm launching an
I love
Etsy
that.
shop, for my jewelry, to actually try and hopefully make actual money.
Kind of want to check
Um,
out ventriloquist channels now, and I never thought that was a sentence I would say out loud unless I'm thinking about Jeff Dunham. But
right.
honestly, like that looks really cool, man. Are you still kind of like developing like the Emilio character?
Uh, yeah, it became one thing. I had another Emilio who was a
Right,
younger looking puppet. He got kidnapped. He was in a bag, and then that bag got swiped.
right,
Um,
okay.
and
Like he
then
was
this
on
guy,
Dora the Explorer, like that type of swiping.
yeah, he got just
Yeah,
swiped right from underneath my nose.
yeah, not the Tinder
Friend was
kind.
right, and then a friend was kind enough to give me this guy an old hand me down. So this is his grandfather Theo Milo, and
Okay.
he's always seen with his red cup.
Red Solo Cup.
And uh,
I
so
fill
yeah,
you up.
we'll see some of his tipsy adventures on YouTube
I like that.
coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, that sounds pretty good. I kind of wish he started off with the tipsy adventures, but you kind of were leading me on to it. I like that. So, anyways, we'll talk about kidnapping a little bit later. I do want to talk about the Royal Rumble of 2026 because I have some opinions on it. So, first of all, overall,
Everybody does.
yeah, first of all, I thought the show itself was good. I enjoyed it. I am very happy that Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble. That's what I was waiting for. I am a little bit hurt by the fact that AJ Styles chose to retire in January of his final year in wrestling. It wasn't even his final year. It was like his final 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, how long it was. And I was waiting for like a whole year. We were going to get like classic matches and things like that. So I'm kind of sad to see him go. But also at the same time, I am like holding out hope that he's going to appear in other promotions, especially TNA, because I feel like it should kind of end where it started for him. But this is not my choice for obvious reasons. And wherever he decides to go, I just hope at the end of the day that we can watch some bangers and he can be happy with it. But with that being said, I also am happy that the door is left open for Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn at Mania after the Rumble and Monday Night Raw has ended. My gripe with the Royal Rumble, it's Roman Reigns winning it, and it's Roman for several reasons. Number one, I had other ideas of who I wanted to win the Rumble. Darren, I know me and you talked about it. Like, I low-key wanted it to be Sami Zayn. I didn't think it was actually going to happen because he had a match that night. But, yeah, such is life. It ended up not being Sami Zayn, and he wasn't in the Rumble for obvious reasons. But I feel like there's a lot of better choices that we could have gone with other than Roman Reigns. Like, the runner-up was Gunther. I feel like if you want Gunther to be so hated, like this is what you would have gone with. And I think the boos the next day on Raw just would have been out of this world, especially if he came out to AJ Styles' music like he did. I feel like that would have been a good choice. I feel like there's probably a lot of other good choices that I'm not thinking about as well. But I think Roman Reigns did not need the Royal Rumble win. And am I excited to see CM Punk versus Roman Reigns? Yes, I am. But again, I feel like there's other ways we could have gotten to it. I feel like you could have Sammy win the Rumble, and even if you have Roman Reigns win the Chamber, I feel like at the end of the day, we get to the same conclusion. But with that being said, that's not what happened. One other thing that I have an issue with is the fact that WWE, in my opinion, has a problem with repeat Royal Rumble winners. And what I mean by that, for somebody who might need me to clarify, is somebody that has gone on to win more than one Royal Rumble. I actually did the math on it a little bit, and since John Cena won his second one in 2013, there's been 14 Royal Rumbles since that, including that year. 8 of them have been repeats. We got John Cena in 2013. We got Batista right after that in 2014. 2015, we got Roman Reigns winning his first one. 2016 was a repeat. Triple H won it. 2017 was a repeat. Randy Orton won it. 2018, 19, and 20. That was actually the biggest stretch of non-repeats that we got because we got Shinsuke Nakamura, we got Seth Rollins, and we got Drew McIntyre all winning Royal Rumbles. All first-time winners. Then 2021, we got Edge. That's a repeat. 2022, we got Brock Lesnar. That's another repeat. That's already 6 right there in 10 years. 2023, 2024, we got Cody Rhodes winning back-to-back. So 2024 is a repeat. 2025, Jey Uso won it. That was first time. That was nice. And then 2026, we got this one. So what I'm trying to say is how many repeat Royal Rumble winners do we need? We didn't want John Cena to win it in 2013, but it was a big deal because only a few people had won 2 Royal Rumbles. When Cody Rhodes did it in 2024, that was a big deal because nobody had done it back-to-back in 25 years. When you have this many people in this time span winning their second Royal Rumble, it, in my opinion, kind of dulls the shine on people that just win one. It dulls the shine on Jey Uso. We were so hyped to see Jey Uso win the title at WrestleMania, and now, less than a year later, he's back in the tag division. And on top of that, you've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who I think is another good example of a guy who, yes, can be used when called upon, but at the same time, I think when you look back at Shinsuke Nakamura's career, you're probably going to look at his stuff in New Japan. You know, I don't think you're going to look at a lot of the work he's done in WWE, and you're going to be thinking of that when you think about Shinsuke Nakamura. Maybe I'm wrong. We're definitely going to think of that Saturday night's main event match that he had with AJ. I will tell you that right now. But at the same time, it kind of dulls the light on people that have won it for their first time when you have that many repeat Royal Rumble winners happening. So I just wanted to share my takes on it first. Whether Darren wants to go first, Sergio wants to go first, I will leave that up to you guys, but I wanted to start with my opinions on it. So let me know what you guys think.
Man, I wish I'd have had a notepad because you listed up some good statistics about how many repeat winners there are. And did you see Roman Reigns' comments on Pat McAfee like the day before, talking about how, you know, guys, he left the floor open for guys to step up, which it's like an age-old Triple H thing for creative to say, Nobody's stepping up, nobody's being the top. You have so many young guys that, you know, to put Jey Uso in that spot, and then, you know, after a few months to say like, okay, it's not working, put him back into a tag. I was all for that more than having Roman Reigns just repeat for the sake of saying no one's stepping up. You had Braun Breaker as an option, or even Austin Theory or Bronson Reed, any of those guys going over, or Logan Paul.
Oba.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too early, but I would have taken Oba over Roman.
Right. The Rumble is a perfect opportunity to elevate somebody. You have 2 main events for WrestleMania, you know, to just kind of dull it with Roman making an unceremonious comeback and to win. I think it dulls an opportunity for how many people you just have ready to just take the next brass ring. It just seemed like a wasted.
You gotta let somebody take it, and instead, what we did was we let the headline kind of take it instead, which CM Punk can help create the headline with a young guy that you feel is ready. Braun Breaker, honestly, I'm glad you brought him up. either him or Gunther would have made the most sense because CM Punk took the title from Gunther at SummerSlam. Maybe we get a match where Gunther sees his own blood again and he reacts differently. Maybe we get Braun Breaker not coming out with the vision and still somehow being able to beat CM Punk for the title. We could have made somebody at this year's WrestleMania. Now I think while you do get headlines for this match in Vegas, at the same time, it's a little bit of a lose-lose because we just saw Roman Reigns lose the title 2 years ago after a 4-year reign. Personally, in my opinion, I think that's a little too soon for Roman to win the title if he had it for that long. And CM Punk, you know, I kind of want him to use this to put somebody new over. And I think, at least from in past interviews of what he said, I feel like that's what CM Punk would want as well. But we got to actually put somebody in that spot to be able to do that. Honestly, I wanted Braun Breaker to win the title on Raw. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I kind of understood because the title reign just started. We had a perfect opportunity to do this at Mania, and instead we went with a masked man trope that caused Braun Breaker to get eliminated right away.
Right.
You know, we could have had
about it.
Here's the thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt. We could have had the masked man, if you're going to do it, come in like 30, 40 minutes into the Rumble, at least make him last throughout. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, go ahead.
No, now that I think about it, like for an opponent for CM Punk, I think Logan, like the build-up for a Logan Paul winning against CM Punk, but if Braun Breaker were to win, what if he would have went to SmackDown and challenged Gunther, and you have two big behemoths going at it?
Right.
That's like a big and two people that we haven't seen before. If I don't know if have we had CM Punk and Logan Paul before?
I don't think we have, but honestly, Logan Paul winning anything sounds genius to me because everybody is going to be angry when Logan Paul does well at anything, no matter what it is.
Yes.
Guy's a heat magnet. Here's the thing, though. I see Logan Paul winning the Money in the Bank. I feel like that just suits him because they build him up as like a social media megastar, one of the most famous people in the world. I feel like Money in the Bank and that title, that briefcase in general, I feel like would suit somebody like Logan Paul. Maybe that's just me, but I could see Logan Paul holding a briefcase, putting some shades on, rocking a chain with a $1 million Pokemon card in it because he's done it before. And I feel like it would just work well with just who he is. You know, Darren, let me know what you actually think on that because we haven't gotten any opinions from you yet.
No, I know because I've been thinking, and I'm glad our guest.
He's thinking. That's new.
No, I know. Hey, don't get ahead of yourself now. But hearing like a wrestler's perspective and them also be like against Roman winning because I'm the same way. I'm against him winning, but at the same time I'm like, hey, I can't go back in time. This isn't Click. I can't just go back and say, hey, WWE Creative, do not have Roman Reigns win the Rumble. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of it as the fact I have to look at the positives of it. And both of those guys both had affiliation with NXT at some point, whether it was CM Punk, with the team NXT and all the stuff. Roman Reigns, being a former NXT wrestler, they both have where they've got history. They've got history, and I think this is the first time that their paths have like technically crossed paths. Like they're finally going to officially duke it out.
It's their first big match, like of this caliber. So,
and it's one of those things where it's like, should it happen sooner? Of course. I mean, definitely it could have happened. It's one of those ones where I feel like it is a little bit too late to have it. I think it's kind of like, this match should have happened 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know how long CM Punk's been with WWE on this tenure.
So,
but I think it's.
Can I just say one thing? Here's, I think, a counterpoint to that. If you're going to have a CM Punk Roman Reigns match, I think you do it at Mania, and if not Mania, SummerSlam. I feel like that's a match for one of these two shows. Like, personally, I thought we were going to get Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, but that was just my headcanon. But I feel like if you do a Punk and Reigns match, you do it at one of those two. Go ahead.
But here's the thing where I'm like also kind of okay with it. It's like if you're gonna bring Roman Reigns back, it's better to bring him back and at least put him in the title picture, whether he wins it or not, than to have him deal with a whole nother bloodline thing. Because then it's just gonna be him babysitting Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu, did I say it right? Fatu? Did I get it right, Jacob?
Fatu.
Fatu, tomato. Sorry if there's any disrespect, Mr. Fatal. I don't want to have an issue with you.
But you're just making it sound like a food, bro.
Well, tofu. Anyway,
can I have the Fatal in a wrap, please? Extra meat. Like, what are you doing?
All I'm saying is he doesn't need to be handheld. When Jacob when he gets a title opportunity, I think he needs to be carving it out his own way. Don't use the bloodline thing for every single wrestler. It doesn't have to be. Let him, instead of create your own path, be your own superstar, and at least with, like you said, at least with the Usos, being back as the Usos and doing their thing. At least it's something he's comfortable with. It's not just some awkward role that doesn't make sense. Like the Usos are together, they're tag champs. Great, that's fine. Do what you got to do. With Reigns is either going to be the big dog, top dog, or he's just not going to be there. So at least they're utilizing him. He's definitely not going to be Roman Reigns going for the IC title. Nobody wants to see that. So, there are a lot of guys, especially with what he said, is, it's time for other guys to step up. But at the same time, it's like, why didn't we let him step up? Why did we take this moment? But I don't know. I hope they don't botch it. I hope they don't fumble the storyline. But
I mean, it's an easy storyline to kind of pull off. Like they set it up pretty well on Raw, and it was just Roman Reigns saying, "I'm gonna face you because I hate you." And with their history, I feel like that works. I feel like with Roman Reigns' character, what we've seen in the past, that works. I feel like him ignoring Drew McIntyre because he's already beaten him. He's kind of shrugging him off. He's done with him. I feel like that works. Hell, I even feel like Drew McIntyre being like, please, Roman Reigns, pick me, the way he's been doing that. I feel like that works. So I feel like this match, we have what we need for it. So I'm not even necessarily worried about them kind of fumbling it. If you do have two guys that hate each other, I do want to see violence at some point. Like, I don't want this to be like a war of words between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes the way it was for their first match. Like, I want to see these guys fighting each other at some point on the road to WrestleMania. And whatever form that takes, I am okay with. But at the same time, I feel like this, with their history, it's going to be kind of easy for them to be able to sell the match. But that's just my 2 cents on it. By the way, Darren, I love how you tried to be like, create yourself, be your own star. You sound like a goddamn marketing tool for them.
Well, I'm just saying. But also, speaking of marketing tool, remember how I talked about how they brought a brand new title belt out? When Roman Reigns was there, he's the reason that title got unified. He's the reason that title was the unified title.
He's the reason it got unified, and he's the reason why they made a new one.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So Drew McIntyre's got that unified title. Now this is time for Roman to get the other title, the new title that they created. So now it's a new prize for him.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Do what you want with it. I know, spoils it. That's just me with my little action figure campaigns. That's what action figure brain is having right there.
I'm good,
That's
fam.
not real booking. That's action figure booking.
I'm good. I don't need to see that again. I'm good. Anyway, Sergio was about to talk.
I was gonna say, what did you think of the Rumble as a whole in terms of getting other guys over? If you're gonna my thinking is if you're gonna use the Rumble to put Roman Reigns back in the main event after he's been gone for however long, did you guys like the booking of the rest of the Rumble match because you had just with the heavyweights alone, you had a Brock Lesnar, you had Braun, you had Braun and Bronson, and then you had the
Yeah,
debut of Royce Keys, formerly Powerhouse Hobbs,
that's a name.
Obafemi. Like, because I personally feel like they dropped the ball, or maybe they didn't drop the ball, or maybe the guys didn't take the opportunity when they got into the Rumble to go and smash some people over. Like when Royce Keys debuted, I was expecting a lot more out of him to come in. Like, have you seen that guy? The guy's like 300 pounds of muscle, and he kind of seemed to have a lackluster debut for all the hype on the internet about him coming to WWE.
You know, I feel like part of it is because of the name. Like Powerhouse Hobbs, I think is such a great wrestling name, and it kind of just sells who he is. I feel like Royce Keys, like that's something to a car that probably everybody on that roster aspires to have or own at some point. And I feel like he doesn't stand out the way that he did. I feel like when he got in the ring, I feel like, you know, there were some pretty good spots with him. He eliminated Damian Priest. There was a spine buster on Javon Evans that looked nasty, but he also took a Samoan drop from Jacob Fatu that he went like must have been like 12 feet in the air. And honestly, part of me was thinking like, yo, did Jacob Fatu really throw him up that high, or is that boy just that bouncy?
Both.
Like, yeah, like honestly, like that's the bounciness that's making Michael Jordan at the free throw line jealous.
Who, Javon Evans?
Yeah, man.
And that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say with the debuts and the Obi Femi, I think was
Obi.
perfect. Yeah, he didn't win, but he got to square up with Brock Lesnar. Like it was that moment that the Miz walks out, and Miz, being the as high up as he is with the business, he said it was kind of like a nope, I'm not getting the ring, I'm backing out. You know what I mean? So it was kind of funny. It was a comical moment, but it was like, yo, these are two powerhouses, and they're saying this guy is the next Brock Lesnar. He's the Nigerian Brock Lesnar. It's like, okay, cool. They get to have a moment, square off. None of them wins, which I think it was Femi. I think was the one that eliminated Lesnar. Am I right? I don't remember,
Yeah.
but so that's cool. That elevates him to the next level. But what was his name? Evans. How do you say it? Javion?
Javon Evans.
Javon. See, let me not be wrong here. Javon Evans. Dude, that guy, like you said, had bounce. He kept going, going, going. And I kept looking. I was like, man, when's this guy going to get eliminated? I'm like, I've never even really heard of him because I don't really follow NXT that much. So I'm like, when's this guy getting out? I'm like, who else is going to come? Like, this guy's not going to probably win the Rumble. He's new. They're not going to have somebody brand new win. They might have a new Rumble winner, but not brand new. And man, he kept going. But what I like about him is he said that he wants to be the youngest world champion ever, beating Randy Orton's record. So he's somebody that, give him an opportunity, let him bulk up, put a little bit of muscle on, and that's somebody.
He's still got to be bouncy.
I mean, he's still got to be bouncy, but he's somebody. Mark my words. If he stays in shape and say he avoids injuries or anything, I say give it the next 2 years. We're gonna see him in the. He's gonna be in the title picture.
What I think. These are two positives that I think I noticed from the Rumble. Number one is that they used to rely a lot on surprise entrances, legends coming back, things like that. That's not a thing anymore. Like, there was none of that I could think of in the Men's Royal Rumble. They rely on some of the NXT guys, sure, but they don't rely on, like, old legends coming back and things like that. I feel like that's become a thing of the past because there's just so much talent in there at so many different levels. And I feel like it's the same with the women's one as well, which when that started, people like Kelly and Michelle McCool were entering the Rumble. No disrespect to them, but you're not relying on those names anymore. So I think that's a positive that has been noticeable in this Rumble. And the one person who I think was the standout for me that didn't win, like you said, was Obafemi. And I think that because he eliminated the first 5 people that came in the Rumble, and he went on to last a good 30, 40 minutes. He had a face-off with Brock Lesnar. So I think if there's any one person that was a standout in the Rumble, it was Oba, and he looked great taking out the War Raiders on Raw also. And
Yeah.
even before that, you had Trick Williams cutting great promos on SmackDown and having a decent Fatal 4-Way match at Saturday night's main event. So it's not like there's no new talent doing anything. So I do want to kind of give credit where credit is due. But my issue is just with specifically Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble and repeat Royal Rumble winners. I feel like there's more we could do, and I feel like that's something we could have used. Not Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble for headlines. We could have put Roman Reigns in his own match. We could have put CM Punk in his own match, and it would have still most likely sold like hotcakes given who those two are.
I think the idea too that WWE is like booking for headlines is kind of ass backwards anyways, because WrestleMania is gonna sell out no matter what.
Right.
But it's not, they're not going for pay-per-view buys. It doesn't, like, what does it matter? People are gonna talk about it anyways.
Right.
Why would you not try to elevate new people or create new superstars in main event? Like, every time I hear about a new box, I didn't know who Anthony Joshua was until the Jake Paul fight, and the guy's already been a multi-time world champion. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? Somebody got to watch there were people out there that got to watch Jake Paul get the shit beat out of him, so that of course was going to sell itself. But
That was awesome.
with that being said, I do want to kind of just share what you asked. The rest of the Royal Rumble, I was happy with. Like I said, I was a little bit heartbroken. AJ's WWE career is over, but I'm holding out hope I could see him in different promotions. I wanted Liv to win the Royal Rumble. I was rooting for it, and I got it, so I'm happy with that. And listen, the door is still open for Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn at Mania if Sami wins the Chamber. So there's a lot that I'm still holding out hope for from the Rumble, and while I wasn't entertained by the ending and that decision, I did enjoy the Rumble as a whole.
I think now that when I found out Styles was retired, but he didn't leave, he was going to take the batting gloves off and then didn't leave them in the ring.
That's why I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because when you think about AJ Styles, where he's going to hang it up, he'll probably hang it up at TNA, but first go on a tour the rest of the year. I see him going back to New Japan and going to AEW
That's
to
fine.
have these. Imagine the money that he's going to make having dream matches in those companies.
Dude, oh my God, I'm thinking of it now. Have we ever seen AJ Styles and Kenny Omega?
I don't know. Google this.
AJ Styles and MJF?
Just imagine AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe again. I
mean, we've seen that already.
I know.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. That's a good one more time match. I am going to say I'm thinking of a lot of AEW guys right now because I'm not as familiar with the TNA roster today. AJ Styles versus Nick Nemeth. That's one. A lot of people would pay to see that.
I'm saying AJ Styles, Will Ospreay, and Wembley.
Well, I mean, Will Ospreay's still injured.
Is he going to be back by the end of the year?
I have no idea. AJ Styles and Swerve Strickland.
That'll be good.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Oh yeah, man.
AJ and MJF would be really entertaining.
Yes, 100%. That's an AEW World Title match.
Mm-hmm.
You got to. If AJ Styles does that, you got to do that at least once. Open the forbidden door. Have him go back to New Japan and just have him open it. Like, why not? You got the perfect excuse.
Let him take the belt off MJF and then
let me ask you
with the belt.
Let me ask you this though: do you think if he does go back to TNA, he should win the TNA title one more time? I want to
I
see
don't
it.
know. When I grew up, because when I was a teenager and getting ready to be a wrestler, like AJ Styles as NWA champion was like the AJ Styles I looked up to.
Dude.
So, or what if he goes to the NWA and
Yo.
wrestles? Who's the NWA champion right now?
I
Because
actually
it
don't
was
know.
EC3 for a while. EC3 went to the
AJ
NWA.
Styles and EC3 went. I almost said Easy 3.
Easy
I
three.
kind of combined Easy E and EC3 for a second.
That's your fast food combo. I'm gonna have the easy three.
Yeah, I believe it. I would watch. I would watch AJ Styles and EC3.
Silas Mason is the current NWA. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. Yeah, I don't know about that one, man. EC3 though, I'll definitely watch that. What was I about to say? Yeah. Oh man. You're right though. AJ Styles winning the NWA title one more time would be cool. I just kind of wish I knew who Cyrus Mason was.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool for the business to get eyes on promotions outside of WWE.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
AEW. That's as a former indie wrestler, because I wrestled for the NWA before, or I did too when Billy Corgan bought it, but even before then.
Okay.
Because it was the president was David Marquez, who was one of my mentors based out here in LA.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I got to be on shows with what's it, Magnus, the current GM. Why can't I remember his real name? Freaking Mickey James' husband, the GM of SmackDown.
Nick Aldis.
What is his name? Nick Aldis, yes.
It's Nick Aldis now.
Aldis.
Did he went by a different name in NWA?
Yeah, he was Magnus or something like that. And then I was on shows with Pierce when he was the NWA champion.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then another bit of trivia. So Royce Keys, it's gonna start floating around now.
Yeah.
Formerly Powerhouse Hobbs. One of his, how they always show when like guys were extras when MJF was the security guard. Yeah. So Royce Keys and we were security guards that kicked Daniel Bryan out of the building leading up to Mania 30. And he and I were standing right next to each other. So when that footage circulates, you'll see me when my hair is its natural color and I'm just looking a hot mess, not giving two shits about this extra gig.
I mean, were you just trying to get through it?
Yeah, I had been an extra backstage so many times and never used, and then after a while, you're just here for the catering, and you realize that no one's gonna take a serious look at us.
Because, you're trying to get through the show. You're trying to get the check. No, I hear that.
Yeah, but it's always cool though to sit and talk to people. I got to have cool conversations with some of the guys. I got to have a cool conversation with Evan Bourne and Claudio Castagnoli, who was Cesaro at the time.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
Favorite what?
Like conversation that you had, maybe like in the back, maybe like in catering or something like that.
When I caught Serena Deeb checking out my ass, that was my favorite.
That wasn't even a conversation, but you know what? Fucking take that. That's beautiful. I love that.
It was, hi, I'm Serena, and hi, I'm Sergio. Saw your eyeballs look bright.
Hold on, can you just turn around for me for 1 second? I wasn't trying to talk here. She was hating to see you go, but loving to watch you leave, clearly.
It was awesome. I've never seen a more gorgeous bald-headed woman in my life.
Oh, dude, yeah, that is awesome. 100%. I mean, where are you wrestling at right now? Because I actually didn't know that about you. I wish Darren told me about that.
I haven't wrestled in about 6 or so years. I had to stop. Because I'm in my late 30s now, and I said when I got around the age of 30, I would kind of reconsider things.
Right.
Especially just with, life taking its priorities, dealing with physical health and mental health. And
yeah, it's a lot.
Such those things. Like I said, it doesn't, being on the indies doesn't pay. I'm a smaller guy, under 200 pounds and only 5'7".
Yeah.
And then in the Southwest, also like LA and Phoenix areas, because I grew up in Phoenix, moved to LA.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of these areas, Vegas and such. But guys don't really get looked at in this region. You have to go elsewhere.
Okay.
If I could do it again, I probably would have tried going to like the Philly, New Jersey tri-state area,
Okay.
um,
Like
or
where
Florida or
GCW is
something.
and things like that.
Yeah, because those are the places that are getting more looked at. And when I did stop wrestling and took a back seat and started kind of seeing the landscape from the outside in again. Like you know this with comedy or
Yeah.
with anything. When you're too involved in something, you kind of get shrouded with the small world that you've been bubbled into, and
Yes.
you kind of forget what the outside world, the looks sees when they
Yeah.
think pro wrestling, when they think independent wrestling, because nobody knew what was going on with the NWA, and still hardly anyone does. But even then,
Yeah.
these smaller, more independent regions, in LA and Phoenix, no one knows what the fuck is going on. And I
Yeah.
got too wrapped up in the drama and the bullshit in this small area rather than
No, yeah.
venturing out.
No, I can attest to that 100%. It will absolutely do that to you, especially when I was the most involved with comedy and stand up. I did a couple of wrestling shows just like on commentary and management roles and things like that. I never actually wanted to get in the ring cuz I didn't want to put myself through that kind of pain, which much respect to all the wrestlers that I've seen do it in the back and on TV. It gives you a completely different perspective. But I get that 100%. Like, you get so wrapped up in being involved in shows, whether they're bringers, showcases, mics, especially those paid ones, like all those types of things. You get wrapped up in being involved, making sure you go, making sure you tune up jokes. A lot of the times when you're hanging out with friends, a lot of these times you get wrapped up to a point where you're hanging out at shows or you really don't see a lot of these people because, you know, the communication just falls off because, you're usually hitting them up about a show that you have. And I remember being wrapped up in those experiences myself, and it, you know, really kind of makes you think about your life when you have to take a step back. So I get where you're coming from 100%.
Learning bad habits. That was something that like when I can make. You probably can too if you've been involved in pro wrestling, even just in a smaller point. But like the amount of parallels between pro wrestling and stand up, just with
Quite a few of them.
trends, learning bad habits, like appealing to just such a niche crowd. Would I
Yep.
say like bad habits too of like just seeing what other people are doing that isn't necessarily working, but because you're seeing so many people do it, you
Yeah.
start picking up those habits. I definitely did that with wrestling in terms of like, just doing stupid spots or silliness that you see
Oh,
on
sure.
AEW repeated, and now it's caught on in WWE, which is why like man, I'll be in the gym and I'll see AEW on TV and just watching it with a bunch of other people in the room or some of my friends that I'm working out with being like, oh hey, that's what you used to do, and just seeing how embarrassing the wrestling on AEW is, and that's what people think when they see pro wrestling now.
Well, I mean, also AEW is a great example because the spots they come up with are just insanity, especially in like their big marquee matches like Blood and Guts. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
I've talked to death about the spot with the 2x4 and the bed of nails that John Moxley did, just
Uh,
because that'll give you PTSD if you watch that.
oh god,
He knows
anything that
exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one though, and then that Swerve Strickland Hangman Adam Page match with the blood drinking
Oh, with the
and
syringe.
no, when uh
No,
Swerve
that
caught a
too.
gut
No,
shot
I
and he
know
was bent
exactly what
over
you're
like
talking
this.
about. That was the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
I'm like, this man just caught
uh,
hepatitis.
dude, or something. Um, that was horrible. What was another one? The other one with the exploding cinder blocks looks so phony and stupid.
That was just dumb. I didn't even feel the wrestler's pain. I was like, this is dumb.
Right. Because there's some, and the stuff that stuff looks so hokey and phony, but then the crazy stunt style things where guys are legitimately getting injured, like Osprey with the broken neck in his
Yeah.
late 20s or 30s. Everyone else with broken limbs, Kenny Omega, all these
Yep.
guys that are all completely banged up. Like people don't buy those things as being legitimately dangerous anymore because the other stuff, like the stupid cinder blocks and the phony thumbtacks and the Legos and the whatever, the gummy bears and all the other hokey shit makes it look just dumber and
Well, it's why you got to spread it out.
right,
Like there's a time and a place for a big spot.
right,
And, it's not always on AEW TV. It's cool moments, but eventually you're raising the bar higher and higher and higher, and eventually you're not going to be able to keep up with where that bar is raised.
right. You know what
So,
was a great, now that speaking of Sami Zayn and memorable WrestleManias and comics and wrestling, did you see Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn a number of years ago
I
in
mean,
that
that's
gimmick
that's
match?
that's how Sami Zayn, honestly, I feel like I can credit that for where this push has come from, because after that, the Bloodline storyline happened. His big match with Roman Reigns happened, winning the tag titles, winning the IC title. I mean, I feel like that was kind of the start of it, even before the
Right.
Bloodline storyline, because he had to build
Hmm.
himself back up, and that was the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example of it, like
That's a
with a
story.
character like Johnny Knoxville, a character where those things would be believable in a believable way for him to beat Sami Zayn, but also Sami Zayn working it in a way because I mean wrestling had already jumped the shark years before, but I think that's a good example. And then you never saw those things repeated again. You didn't see the mouse traps, you didn't see the big hand smack, you didn't see any of that again.
That was
It
hilarious.
was able to live. That was great because you didn't see it set up
Yeah.
and shot the entire match, and then out of nowhere, it just that was great.
That whole WrestleMania was just the acid trip.
Right? Was that the
Like,
same one with Austin and Kevin Owens?
yeah, that was the same one with Austin and Owens. That was the same one where Vince McMahon punted a football in Pat McAfee's nuts.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no, that entire WrestleMania was an acid trip from beginning to end, but it was so good somehow. I don't understand that. but they,
Wait,
but
so
they
what do
made it
you
they made
guys?
it work that night. They made it work.
Mhm. What do you guys think about the "We Want Vince" thing, like the chants and the internet calling for Vince to come back or saying that they would rather have Vince in there than Triple H? Do you
You're not
agree with it, or do you think it's just
first
anyone but Triple H?
first of all, you're not fucking getting Vince back. So, like, let's just put kibosh in that right now, because the man's 80 years old. I mean, he's been out of there now for, going on 4 years. And quite frankly, we were complaining about storylines when Vince was in charge about how they didn't make any sense. Personally, if you ask me, for all the faults that Triple H has as a booker, and he has some faults, we just named one about him relying on big match headlines over putting over a lot of these young guys. But at the same time, it's not like he's done nothing to make sure there's young guys that are going to be leading the charge. We've got Braun Breaker on the roster, Trick Williams, Obafemi, Javon Evans just came on the main roster. Like, there's guys he's clearly elevating. So, and also, a fault of his storylines is he drags them out too long, and it gets to a
Mhm.
point where it ends up kind of hurting the payoff a little bit. But at least the stories make sense. Vince McMahon would ditch a story after a couple episodes of Raw and start a completely different one. And Vince McMahon's storytelling towards the end got so incoherent that, again, I don't know how that WrestleMania even worked, but somehow it did. But I think the storytelling that we get is better overall. And I do think that we're getting more young guys that are being able to be put over and recognized. So, personally, if you ask me, I'm good. I will take the roster that they have now. I just don't want to see another Roman Reigns and CM Punk match at WrestleMania 47 5 years from now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be the big thing for me. I don't want to see Punk main eventing a WrestleMania in his 50s. I just don't. I'm sorry.
We won. I think he would tap out before. I think he would retire before letting that happen.
No, I think you would too, and I don't think we're gonna see that. I think we're gonna get WrestleMania main events with young guys again, in the near future over the next few years. But me
If you could just
personally,
list off.
and I'm just talking about storylines here. I'm not even getting into some of the legal shit and some of the fucked up shit that we've heard. I think we're better off as is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my personal opinion. How do you feel about it, actually?
I think personally, I wish there would just be an overhaul of the current creative process.
Why?
Because I don't know, like the way it is structured now. You watched Unreal where they have like writers. I've actually met a couple of people that have worked as writers, and they look nothing like people that really know anything of the business. One was a mark, and one was just a person that wanted to be a writer in Hollywood and just fell into writing for SmackDown.
But I mean,
You don't know.
hasn't that always been a thing though?
No, back in the day, like when you think Attitude Era, it
Okay.
used to just be a format. And even on the indies, they're trying to like trying to copy and mimic what WWE does by
I've seen
having
that.
writers
I have
and being
absolutely
too
seen that.
detailed. It used to just be like this person match such and such minutes, this person promo then match, this person match and then promo afterwards. And they didn't fucking write absolutely everything and rehearse it. I wish that BG James Road Dogg, who's one of the producers now, if they would let him be more in charge of the mid card, if him and Michael Hayes could handle that, rather and get rid of all these fucking writers and then let guys like Michael Hayes and BG James, people that were great characters, great gimmicks,
I
let
agree.
them work with the mid carders and let them, help guys think for themselves rather than wrestlers just memorizing scripts and matches. You know what I'm saying? That's what would make wrestling, I think, more fun and interesting again.
Do you know when they started like getting the Hollywood writers? It was after the Attitude Era, wasn't it?
It was towards the tail end when Stephanie McMahon took over creative
Okay.
at the end of the Attitude Era. Vince Russo wanted to be a Hollywood writer.
Oh, that
It
would have been
used to
even
be
worse.
it was Russo, right? Him writing Hollywood movies.
Jesus.
It used to be
That would have been
it
a
was
crash.
in the Attitude Era. It was Vince, Jim Cornette, and Bruce Pritchard, and then it went to Cornette, Pritchard, and Vince Russo, and then Cornette left to start OVW, and then it was mainly Vince Russo and Bruce Pritchard, and then Brian Gewirtz was hired in at some point in there too, and then Gewirtz took over as the head writer with Stephanie McMahon as the head of creative, and then they started bringing in more writers and stuff. By the time I had gotten to be an extra and be backstage around 2010 was my first extra booking, they were already giving people full-fledged scripts and everything for their promos.
Okay.
I remember we saw John Cena back there with this big 3-page script. Like, I think they gave him a little more leeway, but then like Serena Deeb, after she was checking out my ass, and I was watching her backstage with couldn't even talk to her because she was too busy trying to memorize this monologue that they had given her. Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving people too much to memorize with about 2 hours worth of time.
Exactly.
Like
and
at that point, you just got to look at it for a few seconds and then wing it from there.
Exactly, and that's sink or swim, and that's when personalities get over. It's hard to develop the personality when the person is trying to memorize everything, not just the script, but also the script for the promo, but also what now is a script for the match. And I hate that word scripts for when it comes to wrestling.
No,
but now it is scripted.
That makes sense. I think, like, if you just ask me, more so as a fan than anything, I feel like have like a topic, have an idea of what you want to say, and then let it come out naturally. kind of like, I try to do on here even.
Right.
Like you let the conversation kind of flow where it needs to, and the words can come out on their own from there. Am I wrong in
100%.
assuming that?
Some of the
I
time.
agree.
Okay. Cool.
Some of the time. What's the exception?
It just depends. Me and John can rant sometimes, and so I'll go on a tangent. And it's like, okay, you need a stopwatch there. Just take a pause. Take a pause.
Darren just
Regroup.
over
Regroup.
explains shit. And then he goes off into tangents. But I feel like when you're saying something for dramatic effect and you're trying to get a point across, that's totally different.
Sure,
Like, you're not
sure,
going to
sure.
say a whole bunch of extra shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Unless I'm at work and I'm in the middle of a swim lesson and I got to say the same shit like 10 times. But I don't think you're going to get into that situation in a wrestling ring. You know what I mean?
And it comes with giving people time, and that's what NXT should be for. What OVW was developed,
Yeah.
the original developmental territories for. You got 3 minutes, hit your 3 minutes. You got 5 minutes, hit your 5 minutes. Today you only got 30 seconds, hit your 30 seconds. Same thing with comedy. Get used to knowing what 5 minutes feels like, and 3 minutes, and then eventually 10 minutes.
Even then, too, at least in comedy, they give you a light.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get that light in wrestling. Nobody's just gonna flash a light at you.
Well, they have the refs with mic'd in.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they have a little earlobe on.
Okay.
Now they're just shouting out directions nonstop.
Nah.
But even when I was on the indies on like smaller television shows, the refs would be mic'd and they would say like, "Hey, you got 2 minutes. Hey, 3 minutes. Hey, go home. Hey, stretch it out. We need an extra 30 seconds."
Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, man, I love that. But I'm guessing you do like more like comedy and things like that now, right?
Yeah, comedy, video production. I moved to LA to work in television and movies and stuff, and then now a lot of everything is now people want social media video editors and stuff
Right.
like that, and comedy. I love LA because there's open mics
That I
nonstop
believe.
out here.
I'm pretty sure they're everywhere out there. But I do want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you're doing with that before we go. I know we did have to talk about kidnapping a little bit. We got very into the wrestling topics that we were talking about, and I love that. I would love to have you back on again just for that itself. But talk a little bit about what you're doing. We can talk about how Emilio got kidnapped a little bit if you want. I do want you to talk a little bit more about that stuff before you go.
Yeah. So like I said, things about 7 years ago, things got rough, and I had to move back to Phoenix with my parents.
Yeah.
To shorten out the somber part, I walked out of my parents' house with the suitcase, couldn't be around my dad anymore, and had the puppet, had clothes, and just the essentials in there. And then I had kind of hid the suitcase while I was trying to figure out where to go. Outside of a Walgreens, walked into the Walgreens to get something real quick. By the time I had walked out, the suitcase was gone from that hiding spot.
Oh,
so was the puppet and a bunch of clothes.
Okay.
So from there, I started. That was about 2 years ago, and started again with the clothes on my back, and then eventually ended up back in LA, rebuilding life.
Right. And eventually, the grandfather just kind of came in there.
Yeah, he's been in town, putting up missing signs for his grandson, hoping to find him. There is a reward, and the reward is a wink and a smile.
and if you don't find him, you could fill up his red Solo cup.
Exactly.
Like he's fucking Toby Keith and shit.
Cheers.
Red Solo cup. I fill you up. Yo, I feel like this would be Stone Cold Steve Austin's best friend, though.
Yeah. Hell yeah! Give me a hell yeah!
Give me a hell yeah! You want a beer? Because you already know Grandpa can shatter glass.
Oh yeah.
Grandpa's been used to that.
And not just tripping through the front door either.
100%. But I do want to also say before you go, thank you for being on. Excuse me. I
Thank you for
100%
having me.
appreciate it. I would definitely love to have you back sooner rather than later. I would love to have Emilio back as well to kind of get to know him. Maybe he could have a cigar with his drink as well. I feel
Oh,
like there's a
he's got
lot. Feel like there's a lot me and Emilio can talk about, but
No, not Emilio. That's not Emilio. That's Emilio's grandfather.
I apologize. I'm mistaken identity.
all
He
good.
might think he's Emilio too after enough red solo cups. You never know. Maybe I can
We
trick
don't know
him
what's
into
in
it.
the red song.
But yeah, man, thank you 100%. Also, guys, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. We have officially passed 23,000 subscribers. You know I was into the conversation when I didn't say a fucking thing about that all show. But once again, man, thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for listening, viewing, supporting the channel. Help us get to hopefully 25,000 subscribers by the end of the month. That has been the goal. We got to pick up the pace a little bit to make that happen. But we will be back as always, same time, same channel next week. Make sure you guys are tuning in as you do every week. Thank you once again. Deuces.